Scrappy Peep, Suzanna here today for a cherry on top for Technique Tuesday, where we are adding texture to our layouts. So I have 4 different ways here incorporated in this video that you can use to incorporate texture into your layouts. So the first is going to be with textured cardstock, as well as layering. So lots of layering going to go on in this layout. And so you can see I'm cutting out on vellum. So that is a second way, is using vellum die cuts. And I'm going to also cut out additional snowflakes with the cardstock, and not the cardstock, I'm sorry, the pattern paper, the 2 pieces of pattern paper that you see there. And then I'm going to layer those. So you have textured cardstock, lots of layering, and vellum die cuts is what I am going to do so far for texture. So these are snowflake dies from Pink Fresh Studio, and what's really awesome about them is not only do you get the snowflake, but you also get the outline of the snowflake, which you can see I am not using. I also have a digital cut file that I am also going to layer on top of the textured cardstock, which also adds a lot of texture to this. It's amazing how many ways you can add texture to your layouts. So lots of die cutting going on here. So what I showed you there was my third way of adding texture is distress glaze. So I have this digital cut file, which is the corners. It is going to be in the corner of the layout, and just basically tone on tone and setting the tone for the layout. I then also have a stencil, which is another way to add texture, and I'm adding this grit paste, which is snowflake. So it's iridescent and there is glitter in it. It's a very subtle look, but I really love the way that it adds even more texture and the softness of the snow to the layout. So I'm just choosing periodic places here and there. Unfortunately, this is no longer available, but there are plenty of snowflake stencils. You can also make your own stencil you can use acetate in a digital cutting machine, or if you wanted smaller, you could use the smaller snowflakes too. So you can see those snowflakes there. I'm going to do one off the edge of the page just for a little bit of variety, and also just I like things that go off the page. It just I'm not quite sure why, but I do. And so I will set that aside to dry, and that has dried now, and you can see that beautiful texture in there. So you can see from this photo, this is a photo of my husband walking in the snow under the fallen branches, or the really heavy weighted down snow, and there's a lot of black in that, and you can see I've got a lot of white. So I feel like I want to ground that, and so I am going to layer up this border strip on the left hand side here, and that also provides some texture too, because I have layered up the dark underneath the white, so you can see some of those snowflake edges. Unfortunately, I did cover up the really cool distress glaze snowflake that I put in the top left hand corner, but so be it. This was sort of an afterthought. This was not something that I had planned. So you can see all the snowflakes that I have on the left hand side. Those are going to be layered on top of my tone on tone and my distress glaze, but I feel like I want to matte the photo a little bit. And I know it's some crazy color, but I like the color and the softness of the color, and it really ties in the red to that red of those banners there. So 3 banners, joy, some snowflakes, and then let it snow, and that ties in the color. I was going to put some green in somewhere, but it really didn't need it. I really liked the red and blue and the emphasis on the red and blue there. So I'm going to tuck that in under the snowflakes. Again, more layering, layering upon layering upon layering. And then another way of adding texture is string or twine. So I'm going to put a little bit of twine through the holes here of these tags, and that's going to add a very organic feel, as well as incorporate a little bit more of the red color into the layout for some contrast there. And then layer those up as well, hanging off of the photo. I like the way that the hanging element of the tags works with the hanging of those branches that my husband is walking underneath. So I'm looking for some yellow twine here. I think it's yellow twine that I'm looking for because there's yellow in that patterned paper behind the photo. I actually end up removing that, I believe. Yes, I do. I thought it was another way of incorporating more color, but I really don't want that much more color because I am going to use gold, and the yellow and the gold don't go together very well. So layering these and just sticking these down, and that will give me a place to put my title to the right of those. I did think of just leaving the title being Let It Snow, but I have some gold, and I have the gold letters that go with the Vicki Boutin collection, Christmas collection, and so I decided that those would be a great way of adding a title to the page. So now I'm just going to sprinkle these different snowflakes from the same that I die cut from all using the same die. Sprinkle these across the page, and you can see how again that contrast really pops the page and pops the texture of those frosted snowflakes. But again, I've got the vellum snowflakes too, so lots of different textures that I am incorporating into the page here. Another way to add texture is to pop things up, and so I am using some double-sided foam here to pop that up. And then the last way to add texture, actually there's two more ways coming, and you'll see that coming up. So just I can't have that one little gold piece, and so I've added a second snowflake, knowing that I am also going to put my title in gold using some chipboard letters. So chipboard is definitely texture, so that is yet another way you can add texture to your pages. And my title here is going to be Snowy Day. It's hard to see, but there is a vellum snowflake between the tag and where I've put the word snow, and I don't like it because it feels like it's provided a gap, and so I've moved the snowflake over and layered that up a little bit, and I'm going to put in Snowy Day. So you've got that visual triangle there of gold elements that kind of guide your eye around the page there. And my final form of texture I thought was going to be these red enamel dots that go with the collection, but they really don't quite match the red, and so I have some red sequins, and I'm going to put them in just to tie a little sprinkle of red throughout the page, and again another way of adding texture. So multiple ways that you can add texture to your pages. These are super simple ways. I am not a huge mixed media gal, but I know that you are going to see some amazing texture coming from Sarah and Jess and all the other some of the other gals on the design team. So that is my textured layout for Technique Tuesday for a cherry on top. I hope you enjoyed this process video. If you have any questions about anything that I've done, please don't hesitate to leave them in the box down below. Thanks for stopping in today. Come back again soon. Take care.